Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in this video, I want to talk about anxiety. In particular, I want to tell you about 6 very important things that you should know about anxiety. Whether you suffer from anxiety or a loved one suffers from anxiety, these 6 things will make your life much easier and give you a sense of hope and control with this situation. Now, before we get into the topic, if you like personal development, entrepreneurship, and technology, make sure to subscribe because we have many goodies coming up. Okay, so let's get into it. When it comes to anxiety, I have a lot of experience because both my sister and my girlfriend have suffered for years from generalized anxiety disorder. They've suffered from panic attack disorder or panic disorder, agoraphobia, which is fear of having panic attacks in public and fear of embarrassing themselves and therefore are sometimes even afraid of leaving the house or even the bedroom. They've suffered from depression and many different mental illnesses, but the general theme has been a lot of anxiety. And I've been one of those primary people being there for them through the process. And I've seen them both go from being locked up in the room, canceling lots of plans, having to leave public places, having to be afraid of making any commitment because they never knew when they would have a panic attack, to now being able to live quite complete lives. Yes, with occasional anxiety, yes, with an occasional panic attack, but they control it and handle it much better and are much more confident through the process. Without further ado, I want to start with point number 1. You should not feel guilty. You should not feel like a burden. Yes, people around you are gonna have to adapt to a new situation and they're gonna have to help you through something that they don't understand or that might require them changing plans. But I will tell you something. If you stop feeling guilty and actually start communicating with them and letting them in, things will change and you will no longer feel like a burden. It's only a burden when people have no idea what to do. So let people in. That leads me to point number 2, which is ask for help and communicate. Asking for help is a generous act. It's an inclusive act. It is something beautiful because there are so many people around you that have no clue how to help, that want to help, but feel left out. They feel that they're in the dark and have no idea what you're going through. And they only see the fear, they only see the frustration, they only see the sadness, but they have no idea where to start. If you take the time to communicate to them what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you desire, what you need, it gets so much easier. And I tell you that as someone who's been on that other side, as someone who's tried so hard to help people that didn't communicate to me at first. And everything changed the moment that they let me in. So please take the time to communicate. And yes, some people will not understand. Some people will have no idea even when you communicate. Don't give up. Try your best to communicate in a way that they'll understand. Hopefully they do. And if they don't, seek help from other people, whether it be therapists, whether it be support groups, whether it be friends who have suffered through anxiety or know someone who have suffered from anxiety. Look for people who can help you because trust me, there's so many people out there ready and eager to help. And that leads me to my 3rd point, which is take it one step at a time. Tackling anxiety, it's very possible, but it is a long process because you're rewiring your brain. You have to face a lot of fears. You have to put yourself in a lot of uncomfortable situations. You have to be very vulnerable and communicative. And you have to communicate things about yourself that you don't even understand, that you don't even know what you're going through. And you have to find a way to communicate that to people in a way that makes sense. So it can take time. It can take months and it can take years. But trust me, if you take the time to take control, to educate yourself, to educate others, to ask for help, in a few months from now, or in a year from now, or 2 years from now, you're gonna be looking back to this day and you won't even recognize yourself. But if you give more power to your fears than your goals, if you keep feeling like a burden, if you keep feeling stuck and you reinforce that, you're gonna stay where you are. So take it one step at a time. With that in mind, a way to do this successfully is, with my 4th point, to keep a journal, to keep records, to basically mark every single day, whether you've had a good day, a bad day, or a holy shit day. My girlfriend, for example, she has a journal where every day of the month she marks it green if she has no anxiety, she marks it orange if she has a little bit of anxiety, red if she has a lot of anxiety, and brown if it's holy shit, I feel like I'm gonna die, I feel like I need a doctor, I feel like I'm gonna pass out, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, brown. The purpose of this journal is that whenever she's having a bad day or a bad week, she looks at this journal and she goes a month back, 3 months back, 6 months back, or a year back, and she goes, this time last year, the whole month was all red, or the whole month was all brown. And this month, I've been mostly green with a few reds, and that's okay. I'm doing much better now than I was doing last year. Or I'm doing much better now than I was doing 6 months ago. Or even I'm doing much better now than I was doing last month. When you can compare it to something from the past, it's so much easier than processing what's going on now. Because when you have anxiety, you instantly go to a dark place in your mind. When you have anxiety, you become fearful. You feel like a failure. You feel like you've taken steps back. You feel like you'll never get better. But if you can reference to actual facts about your growth, you go, okay, you know what? I'm doing well. Considering where I was before, I'm happy to be where I am today. And little by little, I'm getting through this. Having a record is something that I strongly recommend. And if you're an introvert and you don't have many posts on social media, even more so. Now, if you're more of an extrovert, just go look at your posts from your socials and look how happy or unhappy you were a year ago. Look at how few experiences you had back when you were locked up in your room all day and didn't have a life. And look at all the things you do today. Just compare yourself to your past self. Don't compare yourself to where you want to be. Compare yourself and compete with yourself from a few months ago. That leads me to my 5th point, which is have a routine and have certain daily activities that help you prevent excess anxiety. This can be having your meds or having your supplements or having a relaxing tea, or it can be doing exercise, yoga, calling friends, playing a video game, watching a series, doing some activity that distracts you mentally or that recharges your inner battery or that makes you feel at peace. Find those activities, find those remedies, find those things that help you reduce anxiety in your day-to-day. And for each person it is different, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, and you should consult with healthcare professionals and you should investigate what works for you. But trust me, having a routine or having daily activities to prevent excess anxiety goes a long way. If you only are reactive and you're not proactive in your management of your anxiety, trust me, you're going to be much more like in a roller coaster. But if you actually take steps every day to reduce your anxiety, you will notice a difference. And finally, my last point, point number 6, is have an emergency plan. Have a plan for when you have a panic attack. Have a plan to recover from that panic attack. There are several things you can do. One of them is identify what type of panic attack it is and have a plan for different types of panic attacks. I recommend 1, rating it from 1 to 10. This is a 1 on the scale, which is very little anxiety, or this is a 10 on the scale, which is this is holy shit anxiety. Identify, I'm having a lot of physical symptoms, or I'm having a lot of mental symptoms, or I'm having both. Okay, that helps you identify what things you need to tackle. And with that in mind, you can also start communicating to your loved ones what they can do in those moments. Remember, during a panic attack, it's very hard for you to communicate clearly what you need because you're so in panic mode that you don't even know what you need or what you want. So while you are with low anxiety, communicate to those key people what you need during those moments. And yes, I understand that every panic attack is different. This is what I do with my girlfriend, for example. When she has a panic attack, I ask her 1 to 10. But it's not enough to know if it's a 1 to 10. I also ask her, is it physical symptoms or mental symptoms? If it's physical symptoms, I ask her, what physical symptoms? Are you hot? If she says, yes, I'm very hot, I bring a fan to cool her down, or I help her go in the shower and take a cold shower. If she tells me, I can't feel my body, I ask her, do you want me to touch you and maybe scratch your back right now? And sometimes she'll say, yes, please. And sometimes she'll say, no, not right now. But I have a series of questions that I know to ask to help her through the process. Basically, it's just a process of checking off the things, this symptom, we're dealing with it. This symptom, we're dealing with it. If it's dark thoughts or panicky thoughts, and she tells me it is mental, I ask what is going on in your head. And sometimes it can be hard to express, and I ask her questions about things that are happening right now. Is it the elevator? Is it this event? Is it the pressure? Is it the stress from work? Is it this? Until maybe I get a yes or a nod. And then I help reduce the risk mentally, or reduce the stress or anxiety mentally, or taking some responsibility and saying, I got it covered, you don't need to worry about it, and just remove that weight from her shoulders. But I have a series of questions that I know to ask now that can help her through almost any panic attack. And I recommend that you take some time to communicate which questions your loved one should ask. Let me remind you, even if they get the questions wrong, the act of asking questions can ground someone during anxiety. In fact, sometimes when my girlfriend has anxiety, I ask her, do you have sisters? What's your favorite childhood memory? What are your sisters' names? How old are you? What's your name? Very basic questions, because those questions ground her, and sometimes when she's in a very crazy place mentally, I can bring her down to earth with questions. So even if your loved ones don't know the right questions to ask, encourage them to ask questions, because that can help ground you. So that's really what I recommend. Trust me, your quality of life will improve day by day, little by little, and eventually you will have gotten so far that you're gonna be able to look back and be like, is this real? Did I really just do that? Before I used to have a panic attack. My girlfriend, for example, now she gets up and down elevators every day. She used to be so afraid of elevators, she didn't go on an elevator for 10 years. She used to be so afraid of supermarket lines, she couldn't be in line and she would have to leave the store every time. Now she can be in line in supermarkets. She used to be afraid of everything pretty much. And there's so many things she couldn't do a year ago that now she does almost every day. Every day is a celebration of, did you see what I did? Did you see what I did? And that's what it's all about. It's celebrating the small wins, not being too hard on yourself. And remember, you're not a burden. You're not a burden. This is normal. And also, I bet that many people around you have anxiety right now, but are masking it and escaping from it with alcohol, drugs, or other vices, and haven't gotten diagnosed. And the fact that you have taken the time to identify that you have anxiety and that you need help and that you need to make certain changes in your life, that is already the biggest win that you could ever have, because that is when things start to change. So congratulations. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video through. I promise that if you implement these things, things will get better. And yes, seek out the help that works for you. These are the tips that I can share with you, having helped two people who I love through this go from being lost and paralyzed to having very complete lives with an occasional panic attack. But trust me, they wouldn't have gotten to where they are today without all of these steps that they have taken. And I hope that these steps can help you transform your life. So if you like this video, give it a like. If you loved it, subscribe. And if you want to see more of these videos, ring the bell. And with that in mind, I say see you in the next video. Have a good one.